Shalom. I would like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace to the whole full life scattered abroad at the four corners of the earth. So this is something I just learned about, dynamic pricing, and this is said to be introduced to retail and grocery stores. Really, dynamic pricing isn't anything new. Airlines and hotels have been utilizing it for years. And so imagine a world where this is implemented with grocery stores, retail stores, the typical everyday places Americans shop at, right? So let's just get into the definition first. Dynamic pricing is a pricing strategy where businesses adjust prices in real time based on market conditions such as supply, demand, and competitor pricing. This flexible approach allows companies to optimize revenue and maximize profit by setting prices that reflect current market dynamics. So now, let's go to a couple of articles. This is from NBC News. Museums, zoos, and aquariums are embracing dynamic pricing. Here's another one that just came out 6 hours ago. Travel and Tour World. UAE joins with US and UK to revolutionize corporate travel with dynamic pricing and hybrid hotel rate models in 2025. So you see, it's nothing new with hotels in that industry. But check this out. This article is from Forbes. Emotional intelligence. The next step is retail dynamic pricing. So let's get into this. I'm not going to read this entire article. I'm just going to read bits and pieces of it. You've probably checked the price of a flight, found a good deal, and returned later only to see the prices going up, or you've seen an online product price change depending on when and how often you checked it. This is dynamic pricing in action, where prices shift in real time based on demand, competitive pricing, and customer behavior. For online retailers, this is standard practice. Prices adjust constantly, helping businesses maximize revenue and quickly respond to demand in physical stores. However, pricing has traditionally been fixed, with changes happening only through scheduled markdowns, seasonal sales, or promotions. That's beginning to change. Electronic shelf labels, yeah, which is a new thing. Certain stores are introducing the electronic or digital labels. So that way, they'll be able to change the prices on a dime. They'll be able to change it on an instant. You see? AI driven and analytics and real time inventory tracking are allowing brick and mortar stores to experiment with dynamic pricing, adjusting prices throughout the day based on factors like stock levels, demand, or external conditions like weather. However, even with these advancements, pricing strategies still rely on past sales data, inventory movement, and competitor trends. One critical piece is still missing: understanding how pricing influences customers' decisions in real time at the shelf. So that's it. I'm not going to read any more of this article, but this just lets you know where we're headed with AI. AI is getting good to the point where they're going to start implementing it in retail stores. So that way they'll be able to track consumer spending and their behavior. And then they'll be able to adjust the prices of the products on the shelves based off that. It'll no longer be, oh, you have to wait until a seasonal sale, or this is going to be on sale a week later or a month later. They're going to be able to adjust the price on an instant. And with the way that the economy is right now, consumers aren't spending as much money as they have in the past. So corporations and businesses, they're gonna look to make up for that lost revenue by charging more for a particular product, depending on the time and day that the shopper goes. So, for example, if you go to a store after 5 o'clock, and you know how it is when you go to a store after 5 o'clock, it's more packed, right? Therefore, the stores will be able to adjust the price and charge more for their products. Or if you go during off-peak times, like earlier in the day, then you'll perhaps end up spending less. So it's a lot of moving parts. You know, you may pick a product up off the shelf, and then by the time you get to the register, it's a whole nother price. So I've seen the stories and how dynamic pricing is starting to be implemented now. I even heard about the story with this woman. She called an Uber, and the price was the price on the app. But then Uber later charged her more for the service, and they said, "Oh, it was due because of dynamic pricing. They adjusted it." So it's not only being used in airlines and hotels; it's being implemented in other places, and we're already seeing how Americans are financing groceries and even something as simple as fast food. I mean, whoever would have thought the world would head to that, right? But it's a real thing. It's a real situation, and I forget which one of those companies it was, but one of those credit companies went bankrupt because people are living on credit so much nowadays that they're just not even paying it off. It's straight up credit card delinquency out here. So that goes to show you how people are living and how people are struggling nowadays to live. Really, people are surviving. So, anyway, I just have a couple of scriptures. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, and the word victuals means food, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Right, because remember them days or the good old days when groceries weren't so expensive. You can get a good amount of groceries and not have to spend half your rent. You know what I'm saying? They shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So things have gotten worse. You know, Babylon is going down, it's not going up. And don't let anybody try to sell you false hope. Because just look at the results. Look at the culture. Look how people are living. Can you really say it's gotten better? Look at the cost of living. I mean, there's no way that just having a roof over your head should be 60% of your income. There's no way. And then you got to think, how many jobs are there out there that are paying you enough to afford to live and keep up with expenses? There aren't many. And it's like, even if you did want to achieve that, you're going to have to go to school, you're going to have to go to college, and a lot of people have drunk the Kool-Aid and have gone into a tremendous amount of debt just to graduate and not even get a job within that field. They say that 90% of people that are going to college, they're not going to get a degree that's going to get them a job within that field. So now it's like people are sitting back and like analyzing, like, yo, what should I do? What's next? Is AI taking over? Like, what direction is the world headed? Is there really even any point in me going to college? That's what people are starting to think. And a lot of these universities, they're starting to feel the effects of that as well. Because, like I said, the cost of living has increased little by little over the years. And it's like now we're at this point. So just imagine like more time goes by, things is just gonna get worse. You thought things was bad a year ago, 2 years ago, or even 5 years ago. I mean, look where we're at today. Those times was to get us here. So that's why a lot of people are walking around in this country or even on this earth confused, not really knowing what the future holds. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's going to be no escaping the Most High's judgment, because we're heading into those times where things is going to get critical. You think you're seeing survival tactics now? You think that's what you're seeing? Just wait. You ain't really seeing nothing yet. Never mind the fact that people are living out of storage units, getting evicted from their places, or just straight up going homeless, losing their jobs, getting laid off. Relationships are ending, family struggles and woes, sicknesses. Never mind all that, because it's going to be those type of things, but magnified. It's going to get worse. So, verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left till the earth, and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. And that's what's coming to America. Desolation, destruction from wars, right? And we see what's going on over there on that side of the world. You know what I mean? And so they say that the U.S. is inevitably going to get involved. Well, the experts, but what's more is that Bible prophecy says that the U.S. is going to get involved. So, I mean, you gotta wonder, like, what is the future looking like? Next scripture. This is Revelation 6:6 in the NLT. And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat, bread, or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and wine. So we're gonna get to the point where food is gonna be so expensive that it's gonna cost a day's worth of pay. I mean, imagine that. So the question is inflation or hyperinflation going to be disguised as dynamic pricing with the help of AI? I mean, that's a good question. So I'm going to end on that note. Hope y'all found this video edifying. Shalom.